There is no time to worry about the soldiers.
Right. Our enemy has multiple options for striking the president in Pakistan. At the base after landing, while in transit within the country, during the meeting. But if Sundowner's right, they're gonna strike within 3 hours after you killed him.
Which means they're either gonna attack Air Force One, or they'll wait until he lands.
I kinda doubt there are any Pakistanis on board Air Force One, though. It's not like in the movies. They never let foreign press on the flight. They could try to shoot it down from afar, I guess. But anything the Pakistan Air Force could deploy would show up on US radar instantly.
Which means their best bet at kickstarting another war on terror would be post-landing.
They're probably set up for the assassination over at the base. You better get moving.
What's up? By the way, you mind if I ask, what's she like?
Who, Sonny? I don't know. Kind of a child prodigy, I guess.
You're the one who rescued her, right? From the Patriot Lab?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a long story, but in the end, yeah.
Then she was handed over to Dr. Emmerich.
Right. We had to hide her away at first, from the Patriots. It wasn't exactly fun. She couldn't even go outside for the most part.
That's terrible.
But in the meantime, Adak, Dr. Emmerich, taught her all about programming and computer engineering. It was her code that destroyed the Patriot AIs. After the dust settled, Dr. Emmerich adopted her, officially becoming her legal guardian.
But how'd she end up at Solus? What about school?
Oh, she went. For about a year, I think. She was way too far ahead of her peers, though. Probably could have qualified for her BS in computer engineering by that point.
Why not go through with it? Just get the degree.
We discussed it, but Sonny was more interested in Solus by then. Dr. Emmerich had contacts there, so...
So now she's designing launch vehicles and stuff, huh? Wish I had some of that talent.
Well, a lot of it might be the Patriots doing. Who knows what their experiments did to her brain?
And in the end, she used it to destroy them. The irony, huh?
In Pakistan already, and so quickly. Ah, science never ceases to amaze me.
When it's for peaceful purposes, you mean?
Well, yes, of course. Of course. I must say, though, the engineer behind that RLV craft looked rather young to me.
Yeah, a gifted kid, you might say.
I would love a chance to meet her sometime.
Why? What would you say to her?
Oh, I don't know. It's always just such a stimulating experience. Speaking with scientists from fields other than mine, that is. It often leads to all sorts of new insights, new ideas to work with. And speaking of that, I've yet to meet Dr. Emmerich, too.
I doubt you two would get along, actually.
Oh, you think so?
Anyway, how are the brains doing?
Oh, just fine. Safe and sound in Mexico. Now I just have to get them loaded and en route to Germany. Of course, the real challenge will come after that, I suppose.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there.
Indeed. Indeed. Do be careful in the meantime.
How's it look inside the base?
Firmly in cyborg hands. All human soldiers are either dead or have been brain-jacked.
What are they doing in there?
Patrolling for intruders. In other words, you.
I bet they're nervous. Probably weren't expecting me to be here.
Let us hope so. I doubt they wish to create a large commotion at this point in time. Should things seem awry from the air, or the ATC tower goes offline, Air Force One will most likely opt to land elsewhere.
Well then, what do you say we make a large commotion? I'll fight my way to the tower.
Roger. Continuing with reconnaissance.
How was the ride?
Hey, Sonny. Fine, thanks. Though I wouldn't call it the smoothest ride ever. You sure that thing's really airworthy?
Well, what do you expect? You're traveling at a few dozen times the speed of sound. I mean, she operates well within all the projected margins of safety, so yes. We'll have to work on the turbulence levels a bit before we can take tourists on it. But come on, you really can't complain.
So, it's meant mainly for cargo at the moment?
Mm-hmm. We got a contract with COTS, NASA's Commercial Orbital Transportation Services. Mostly handling space deliveries, that kind of thing. We also joined the C-3PO, The Commercial Crew and Cargo Program Office's passenger transport program.
So soon we'll have private spacecraft bringing crew to the International Space Station. Wild times we're living in.
Well, the space race has been over for decades now. It's no longer something countries engage in for vanity's sake. Still, lots of people are starting to see the industrial value of zero-gravity experiments. Plus, the costs are getting lower and lower with each passing year, to the point where we'll have a serious space tourism industry before long.
Yeah, I heard about the space hotel the Russians opened up. But we're still not going any further than orbit, right?
Well, one company's planning to have a lunar landing craft complete by 2020. Not ours, though. I'm just hoping we can get to Jupiter while Hal's still alive.
Jupiter, huh? Wow, that's pretty far.
Oh, hey! How did Earth look from up there?
I can't even put it into words. I know I was still under the Kármán line, but it looked exactly like every satellite photo of Earth I've ever seen. No borders, no nothing. Just a whole lot of blue. Hopefully next time around I can take my time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But first things first, you know?
Yep. Well, good luck, Jack. Raiden.
You designed that thing too, Sonny?
Nobody designed her.
Nobody?
Yep. She pretty much evolved by herself.
I think I may be missing something here.
We used a genetic algorithm to make it. Ever hear of that? They use it to build the cars for bullet trains and stuff. Basically, we start by creating a few different models of aircraft. The data for each design is treated as the genes for a new aircraft. They all get crossbred with each other in virtual space. Eventually, you come up with offspring that exhibit genes from each original design.
Offspring?
You know, children. Each child then competes with the others for survival in the virtual space. The kids that have the best aerodynamic traits survive and pass on their genes, creating the next generation of aircraft. You get this sort of gene-based evolution across generations, like animals in real life.
I'm having a hard time imagining aircraft having kids like that. Anyway, what's with the two wings on the top and the bottom?
Oh yeah, the swept wings? They're set up so that the sonic booms they create wind up bashing against each other, cutting down on shockwaves. The idea has been hard to implement due to issues with elevation and wingtip treatment. But thanks to the genetic algorithm, the RLV worked out all the problems herself.
Herself, huh? Makes it sound like you're more breeder than designer. Hey, Wolf. What did you and Sam talk about before we fought?
Nothing of note. He was not one to reveal himself to others.
All right. You don't have to tell me.
Raiden, I do not feel good about this. Do not allow yourself to be caught off guard.
Duly noted. Hey, Wolf. Know anyone named Gubayama?
Gubayama? No. Perhaps I have heard it before, but...
Huh. Well, no big deal. Just thought it might ring a bell.
I apologize that I am unable to help.
Nah, forget it.
Unless I am mistaken, Yama is Japanese for mountain.
Huh?
Does that help?
No. The Colonel told me he met Gubayama once. Probably someone's name.
A significant number of sumo wrestlers use the term Yama as part of their ring name. Perhaps this Gubayama is in the sumo business.
Makes sense, sure. I just wish there was some way of knowing what that AI was trying to tell me. Don't suppose you know where Shiboniji is either, huh?
No, Raiden. I don't.
In Pakistan already? And
When it's...
I'm...
Yeah, why?
And speaking of that,
Anyway.
Oh, now, of course.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So what happened with the RLV after it dropped me off?
Running on autopilot, she'll circumnavigate the Earth and head back.
Wow. A trip around the world, huh?
That's the sort of distance you need to reach orbital velocity. She had to lower her altitude pretty drastically to drop the landing craft. So getting back up for her was a pretty rough trip.
Rough? How?
In terms of damage to the craft, I mean. Running in ramjet mode helps conserve fuel a lot, so she's good there, but... yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no. All in the name of peace, right? Besides, it made for a good load experiment. I'm kind of surprised it actually worked, actually.
What?
Oh, I'm just teasing. Don't be so serious.
Hey, Wolf. What did you and Sam talk about?
Not he.
All right.
Right, do not...
Do... So what kind of engine is this LACE thing?
It's short for Liquid Air Cycle Engine. A LACE uses liquid hydrogen to chill and liquefy the oxygen in the air. The reaction between the liquefied hydrogen and oxygen creates propulsion. On this RLV, the LACE is combined with ramjets for maximum efficiency. Once the solid rocket boosters lift her off and bring her to Mach 3, she switches to ramjet propulsion mode. In the meantime, she's taking in and liquefying oxygen from the air. Once there's enough, the LACE is ignited. If it wasn't for that hybrid engine, it would have been pretty rough for an RLV to pull that trick that it did. You know, lowering its elevation just long enough to drop a landing craft.
Well, I'm impressed. If it wasn't for you, I'd still be on your side of the world.
And I wouldn't even be here if not for you. Don't forget that, okay? A lot of people appreciate what you've done for them.
I'll try not to. Hey, so how's Otacon? About time he starts thinking about marriage, isn't it?
I don't know if he is or not, but either way, no dice yet. He likes to go on about how nobody would ever be happy with him long term. But it doesn't seem like he has too much trouble keeping busy on Saturday nights. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, he was a huge geek back when he was younger.
Maybe, but even so, he's still a nice guy. I doubt he was ever that lonely.
Yeah, I suppose. But he really changed once he got into his 30s. Got a lot more attractive.
Yeah, but he still has this really bad habit of keeping the ladies at arm's length. It winds up making him look really awkward sometimes. I really wish he'd just pick someone and settle down already.
Easier said than done, I guess. So what about you, Sonny?
Me? Well, I've got science. That's all the love I need.
Sounds like you've got your own problems in that department.
Hey, Raiden! You gonna keep that pup after this mission?
That... Oh, you mean Wolf?
Yeah. He's kind of a cutie.
You think so? I don't think he's really the cuddling type, Sonny. Plus, he's not exactly mine. He just keeps following me around.
Oh, yeah? Can I have him?
Oh, I don't mind. But I don't know about him. He's kind of his own, animal. I check with him first. It's his call, not mine.
Oh. Oh, well.
He'd probably say yes, though. I mean, he seems to like you a hell of a lot more than me.
Really? Oh, I sure hope so. Thanks a lot, Raiden.
Wouldn't even shake for me.
Raiden, I heard Armstrong's using the name Operation Tecumseh for the assassination attempt. It makes sense.
What do you mean?
Tecumseh was a Native American tribal leader, a symbol of resistance against the new settlers.
Guess you know your U.S. history better than me.
This is basic stuff, Raiden. As legend has it, Tecumseh put a curse on the U.S. presidency. Every 20 years, whoever is elected president was doomed to die before he served out his term. And it played out that way, too. From 1840 to 1960, that's exactly what happened.
Ah, a fitting code name then.
Yep. It hasn't worked since 1980, though.
Ran its course, huh? Didn't last as long as the Bald Harry rule in Russia, at least. Besides, Hamilton wasn't elected in the right year for it to take effect, right? Wouldn't Armstrong be the one elected in 2020 if this works?
Well, I'm sure the name is meant to be a bit tongue-in-cheek. Not like how the U.S. Army names their ops.
Still, pretty bad karma.
Just be careful, Raiden. Hey, Raiden. There's something I've been meaning to mention.
What's up?
Well, they're telling me someone broke our front gate at the plant.
Oh.
That's an electronic lock, you know.
Yeah, I thought it was open.
It wasn't. But you're strong enough to pry it open if you wanted to.
Well, I didn't think I put that much force into it. You ask me, I think you need a sturdier gate.
That's what I told security. Anyway, we'll send you an invoice for the reinforcement work. Not to mention the repair costs.
Oh, come on, Sonny, it was an accident. Man, Rose is gonna kill me.
How was the ride?
Hey, Sonny, fine, thanks. You sure?
Well, I mean, we'll...
So-
we all...
So-
Well, still, what's the...
Yeah, but we're...
Well, I'm just...
Jupe,
Oh!
I know, no, hopefully.
Yeah.
But first...
Yep.
Raiden, there is no time to worry about the soldiers. Get to the control tower.
it isn't Saucy Jack. Just a little too late, as usual. Armstrong. Impressive little toy you've got there. But your plan ends here. Idiot. You're not ending our plan. You're expanding it. Check the internet lately.
Ryder, Air Force One is turning back to the States.
What? How'd they know?
Someone posted photos of what's happening on the base. The whole world is up in arms.
Show me. How did they? The story leaked early. Then Marshall's plan is ruined.
The hell it is. Look what they're saying. The story just went live, and already they're calling for blood.
But the president was saved.
And yet American blood was spilled.
By Americans. Besides, a few dozen soldiers is tragic, but nothing to start a major war over.
That's just the spark, son. The excuse we've been waiting for. America's wanted this war for years. The Patriots, they knew war was good for the economy. 4 years later, their legacy lingers on.
The memes.
They left us their great isms. Nationalism, unilateralism, materialism. Welcome maxims for those with no faith, without guiding principles of their own. Give yourself up to the whole. No need to better yourself. You're American. You're number one. Then the only value left is dollar value. The economy. So we'll do whatever it takes to keep it humming along. Even war. Especially war.
Bullshit!
The Patriots planted the seed. We don't need them around to filter and foster their memes any longer. We're spreading them just fine ourselves. Every American man, woman, and child. We're all sons of the Patriots now! We just need something to jumpstart the economy out of this funk. This recession it's been stuck in since the fall of SOP.
And the military costs? Wasting billions is going to help the economy?
DMCs, arms manufacturers, job creators, Jack. All those workers spending money, paying taxes. Trust me, a little war can work wonders.
So grease the gears with some innocent blood, is that it?
Oh, relax, Jack. It's a war on terror. We're not out to kill civilians. Extremists, lawless gangs, madmen. Of course, that would have to include you. Wouldn't want any eyewitness reports complicating the message.
That tank is from AT Corp, codename Metal Gear Excelsus.
Metal Gear.
It's not nuclear equipped, but Metal Gear is still in the product name.
Fancy. That's just a PR thing then, huh?
Perhaps. The term was coined because they were meant to serve as gears. Gears linking infantry with weaponry, duh?
I guess Ray didn't have any nukes either.
Duh. It will be useless as a technical weapon with that sort of equipment. Once we entered the era of asymmetrical warfare, after the Cold War, the idea of a deterrent force fell out of fashion.
Right. because people preferred weapons that could actually be used to kill people.
Yes, I would guess they call it Metal Gear to separate it from smaller Walker-type UGs. Excelsus means high or lofty. It is also the species name of Apatosaurus, the dinosaur.
Apatosaurus. That used to be Brontosaurus, right? It's definitely big enough. But why do they have one? I'm sure they can afford it, but I thought the whole point of Tecumseh was to shift the blame away from World Marshal.
It is smokescreen, I think. Part of this op must be to disguise the source of their funding. I know Desperado makes good money, but this is not a thing thugs like that could purchase. I think the purpose is to make this incident seem bigger and more elaborate than it really is. With this, it appears like more than a simple Pakistani border group supporting Desperado. It suggests that ISI is involved, or maybe terrorists from an OPEC nation. It will lead to war. A world war. One with two very distinct sides for a change.
Christ. And that asshole Armstrong calls it a war on terror.
If the Western nations begin chasing down terrorists, they will respond in kind, just as before. And before long, Western civilians will once again become targets. Can you stop it, Raiden?
Don't know, but I gotta try.
Raiden, you okay?
Yeah. Just wasn't expecting that, that's all. They didn't need to kill Hamilton at all for Tecumseh to work. Fabricating an assassination attempt was all they really needed to do.
Yeah, I should have guessed considering the political climate in the US. Ever since the Occupy movement, Wall Street's been manipulating the media. You know, scapegoating foreign interests in order to divert the public's attention.
Which played a part in the Patriot memes, just like he was saying.
Probably. If being an American's the only thing you've got to be proud of, it's easy to just start blaming non-Americans for all the problems you have to deal with.
And it's not just a US thing either. You've seen how anti-immigration all the first world nations are these days. The whole "they took our jobs" bit. It's an easy story to swallow.
The Patriots spreading their memes worldwide. That's how Armstrong had probably put it. And, just like he said, materialism runs rampant among the financial elite. They see exploiting the poor as a sign of their success. They entered businesses that accomplish nothing for anyone besides themselves. I mean, it's a fact that manufacturing jobs have been drained from first world countries, immigration or not. That's not the immigrants' fault. It's the fault of the bankers and the financiers. The folks who pressed for globalization so they could pad their quarterly figures.
Yeah, pretty obvious if you take a sec to think about it.
That's harder than you think, you know. Getting an objective picture of what's really going on? Hell of a lot easier to passively accept other people's opinions and standards. Still, the memes that get spread around can be good and bad in equal measures. It's our job to pick the good ones and spread those around a little more.
Sure is. But before that...
Yeah. Think you can stop him?
No matter what. You hear that speech? Hell of a politician.
Yeah, it's scary.
He's calling this an anti-terror war, saying he's not gonna harm any civilians.
Despite the fact that tons have been killed already in so-called wars on terror. Besides, the terror here is all fake.
Yeah.
I know it's not exactly unheard of for groups in Pakistan to terrorize the government, but, I mean, this is so ridiculous. Going on this noble quest to shoot down terrorists and restore faith in America?
What he said, though, it works.
What do you mean?
You saw the footage. Hamilton's fine, and still everyone's calling for blood. The people have spoken. They want war. And Armstrong's doing it all for the money. And for his polling numbers. Bastard will do whatever it takes to get the public on his side. I kill him, and I don't know. Then what? What's it gonna change? If the world's gonna do its own thing, either way, what's the...
Raiden, get a hold of yourself. Just because people want war, that makes it okay to start one purely for profit? For some twisted sense of pride?
No.
And let's not forget, he's trying to kill you. Look, just... How about I save your data while you get your head together? Right. Save complete. I know I can't do much more than that, Raiden. But just try to get back alive, okay?
My. A Metal Gear Excelsus.
I know I've heard that name before.
Indeed. It made the news several times during development. A lot of people thought they'd have a hard time finding a buyer.
It's enormous.
One of the first large-scale, multi-legged tanks AT Corp has made in some time. UGs have grown smaller and smaller, but this is certainly a 180-degree change of direction.
So why do it?
The advance of artificial musculature is one reason miniaturization has grown so rapidly. But another is the shift from nuclear deterrence to asymmetrical warfare. Deploying such a large unit for guerrilla or urban warfare would be overkill. The collateral damage alone would be stupendous. Once cyborg tech began to advance, though, small-scale UGs were no longer so effective. Against an adversary of the same size, a cyborg with human-level decision-making skills, well, it will always have the advantage. So, as the theory goes, why not make UGs giant again? Overwhelm the cyborg with sheer firepower. That was the idea that led to Excelsis.
Like you said, overkill. But it's still no good in urban combat, right?
Correct. Assuming you weren't intending to raise the urban area in the process anyway.
What do you mean?
Well, a Gecko-class UG is too large for many parts of city areas, but also too small to simply trample any buildings and such standing in its way. But this magnificent beast, it could smash whole houses without even breaking stride.
And what? It's just sorry, but fuck you, civilians? I mean, even if they were just knocking down houses, the media'd have a field day.
I sincerely doubt they care. If a US soldier dies in combat, it's nationwide front-page news. If civilians in wherever Stan are killed in an airstrike, nobody gives a second thought. But you know, they talk about the deterrent effect of this UG. About it striking fear in people's hearts. If there is a UG airstrike, you don't have any time to flee. But if this behemoth was lumbering your way...
You'd run. Anyone would. Except trained guerrillas.
Precisely. Thus, the UG would only be fighting against actual combatants. With a manned ground unit like that, there's a lesser chance of erroneous strikes. Plus, the legs make navigating rugged terrain a veritable walk in the park. And it would take much more than a rocket launcher to take it down. The crew couldn't be safer.
Is there really that much demand, though?
Ah, that is the question, yes. Of course, we would seem to have our answer now. If things go the way Armstrong wants them to, before too long, we could see whole herds of Excelsi trampling across Pakistan's Sparta.
Raiden! Are you okay? That's a pretty crazy Metal Gear.
Kind of a far cry from your Mark II and III, huh, Sonny?
In the end, nothing ever changes. Science always ends up being used for war.
No, it's like any weapon. It's only a tool. It's all up to who wields it. Not everyone has their own selfish agenda. Some people like you are making a difference for the better.
If only I could believe that.
Cheer up, Sonny. You have the power to bring hope to a lot of people.
Yeah, you're right. Raiden! Are you at the...
Kind of a far... No, not everyone has...
If only I...
Cheer up.
Yeah.
Boris, who leaked those photos to the internet?
I don't know. It may have been under Armstrong's orders.
So he never intended to kill Hamilton at all? That's kind of hard to believe.
That, or there was change of plans after you killed Sam. Air Force One was not going to land at the base if you were there making mayhem. Perhaps they predicted that after Sam. So they decided to act first. Leaking the data and taking you on with full force. It is possible, at least.
Course correcting the entire plan just for me? What an honor.
It is just a theory. But either way, you cannot allow plan to succeed.
Copy. Either way, I need to take this thing down.
You've got to stop that thing. You've got to stop that thing, Raiden. If Armstrong becomes president...
Guess you were right, Court. Only choice I have here is to stop him.
Good luck. Are you sure? Just send me a codec if you change your mind, all right?
Guess you were right, Courtney. Only choice I have here is to...
Good luck.